Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Force, and here today we will be taking a look at Rainbow Six Siege. I'd like to give you my first impressions as well as a general overview of the game. Starting off here at the very beginning of a match, you get to select your operator, which basically they function as classes with different weapons and different special utility items like this sledgehammer here, or you've got like disruptors, you've got the basic recruit unit, which is the one that I ended up selecting here. And then after you've selected your operator, you pick a point of entry or a point of defense. So currently at the moment, the only thing that's available in the beta are two maps, which is House and Plane, as well as one gameplay mode, which is Hostage, the Hostage Rescue. So here we're playing as the attackers, which are basically the hostage rescuers. We're trying to get into the location, be it the house or the plane, find where the hostage is, and then try to save them. So as the attacker, at the start of the match, you've got this little vehicle that you get to drive around with a camera on it to try to spot where the hostage is. And as you can see, I'm currently in that hostage room. Now what you can do, I ended up failing at doing it here, but if you can try to sneak in, you can actually set up that camera, and if the enemy doesn't see it, you can access it at any given point as you're starting things out here. This was actually one of my very first few matches, so still kind of learning what to do. And here I am actually accessing some of the cameras that managed to make it in the house. Now, unfortunately, they're not at any great position to give us any intel, but that's sort of what you could do. You could set up a situation that would allow you to have some good eyes on the inside during the match. I'm going to be setting up an explosive charge here on the door. The charges that I have access to are actually more used for reinforced doors. You don't need it to break down what you just saw me break down. You could use a melee attack or even just some gunfire. But there are reinforced walls and barricades that you can break down with the charge that I have. And taking out an enemy here, sneaking around. So they're in, we can actually see they're located right behind us. That's where the hostage is. So we're gonna try to get through there. And right ahead of me is, you actually get to see one of those reinforced, one of these reinforced barricades. So while we are sneaking in with our camera, trying to find out where the hostage is and where the enemies are, they have the opportunity to set up these barricades and try to sort of fortify themselves in. So I guess you use my explosive barricade breaking down, reinforced breaking down charge, bust on in here, and there's one of two things you can do. You can either eliminate all of the opposing team, or you can actually secure the hostage and get him out of the house or out of the plane. Now, I played for 4 hours. I did not at one point see the actual securing of a hostage being the way that victory was taking place. It was always, absolutely positively always, that you just killed all of the enemy team. I literally have never seen a hostage secured and escorted out out of the area. It just has not happened. So it seems like that's what it's going to be. You're just going to be eliminating the opposing team. A couple of things, just so you guys know what you're looking at. Bottom left hand corner is armor, which is basically your health, and then that hotbar shows different things that you have access to, whether that's going to be setting up reinforced barricades, sensor disruptors, like a heartbeat sensor. Any of your specialty class specific items will be located there. And then once a round is over, you get this little synopsis here which shows you the kills and deaths and assist and all of that. All right, now we're going to go ahead and stall on house. This time we're going to take a look at the defensive side of things. So here we go. We have the hostage set up here, and in this early stage, a couple of things you can do. Number one is you can set up the reinforced stuff. And again, this was literally one of my first matches. The other thing too is I've got barbed wire, so I can set this up. And besides reinforcing, setting up traps, you also want to kill these things. If you just saw, there's the little cameras zooming on into the room, and you want to kill those if you can, because if you can help it, you'd like to make it so that the opposing team doesn't know where the hostage is. Now in this particular match, obviously as you saw, they managed to get on here really early, so they know exactly where the hostage is located. Truth is though, there's for each of the maps that are available at the moment, there's only 4 different possible locations where you can set up your defense. So once you play, even just for an afternoon, people are going to learn where they need to go and where they need to look with the cameras. So it seems like most of the time, the attacking team will be able to spot where the hostage is, unless the defending team is really on top of killing those little scooters that are coming on in, those little cameras that are coming on in. Unless you're absolutely 100% on the ball, it's going to be pretty easy for the attacking team to find out where the hostage is. Now, I didn't do it so much here in this particular match because, again, this is capture from one of my very first matches. I was still learning what was going on. But you can be much more proactive about setting up barricades than you saw me doing here. Any small entryways like doorways or even windows can be barricaded up. And then in addition to barricades, there's reinforcing that you can do to structural things like walls. If you can actually see the garage door back there, that is a reinforced wall. Now they managed to break it down with a charge, but they couldn't break it down with a melee attack or gunfire or even the sledgehammer, which is one of the attacking weapon types. You would need something like that explosive charge that is specifically for reinforced areas. Because they knew where we are, they managed to set up a nice offensive coming in from the backside and the front side here. And I think I do manage to get at least one kill in this. Yeah, so we do manage to get at least one kill in this situation. But this does end up being unfortunately a failed attempt at defense. In just a couple of seconds here, I think I get taken out, and then that's it. So at the top, that shows the remaining teams, the remaining time. The current score for a match, it's all round based and it's a best of 5. So the first team to get to 5 victories, and you alternate between attacking and defending. So you start off with attacking, switch to defending, go back and forth until one team gets 5 victories. But also at the top you can see the remaining teams, and then for your team you get to see the health of any remaining members, and you can see my health is low, and it's indicated by the low health bar at the top, as well as the low armor blinking at the bottom left. And I think this guy drops down. This is actually hilarious. Watch this kill cam. He busts through a weak point in the upstairs with his sledgehammer, and then just shotguns me right in the face, just like that. All right, we're going to take another look at a defensive stance, but this time on the plane map. And with this one, I'm a bit more proactive. In the last one, we were sort of sitting back and just waiting for the enemy to come to us. So this one, I'm going to be going out, being much more proactive, setting up some barricades, and utilizing what I think is the strongest defensive item. At least I found it to be so. That's the heartbeat sensor. That's tied to my number 5. And with this particular operator, I also have the ability to drop down these little barbed wires, which what they do, that's one of the sensors. And again, if you spot these, you can blow them up, which will stop the opposing team from knowing where the hostage is, which means it'll just take them that much longer to try to rescue. And as you can see, they only have 3 minutes. If that 3-minute timer ends and they haven't rescued the hostage or killed everybody, then they lose and you win. So here's a barricade. The opposing team sent another teammate set it up, so I can break that down and then set up another one, and that's what we're going to do here. So as you can see, basically any doorway entrance you can do this to. It's very awesome. And on the house map, all of the windows you can do it to as well. So I'm going to set up a barricade, and then we will put some barbed wire, and we're going to set up another barricade right here. And then I'm going to start to go on the offensive. I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive in this one. And the one thing that you didn't see me do, but that you can do, is a lot of the walls, you can reinforce those, as I talked about in the last defensive segment that you saw. And there's a guy right here. So this is why the heartbeat sensor is so, I mean, how is that? It seems so very strong, doesn't it? And then they can disable it, as you just saw. The attacking team does have device disabling things, and I wasn't sure how long it lasted, so I just keep popping it up here just to try to see if it's available again. It lasts a fairly long time. It seems like it's like 10 or 15 seconds or so, but as you can see, it's back up again, and I know exactly where they are, and yeah, we can go out and blow them up. So let me just talk a little bit about my first impressions. I think we've done a pretty good job of going over what this is, all the different things that you can do. You know, I was having a lot of fun this afternoon. I played for a grand total of about 4 hours, and I was just having a blast. It's a combination, you know. I wouldn't say it's as hardcore as like what I remember the original Rainbow Six being on the PC when I played it back when I was a kid. And I loved that game. Like, I thought it was so amazing. It does feel a bit more, I guess, modern and a bit more arcadey. But honestly, for me, I really like that. Like, it doesn't feel as, I guess, because we've got things like hit scan and we've got the heartbeat sensor. It doesn't feel as hardcore as, say, Counter-Strike is, or even the original Rainbow Six. It is definitely much more modernized, but there is no mini-map, and besides the heartbeat sensor, you need to rely on auditory clues to try to figure out where the team is. Now, as long as you're communicating with your team and the person with the heartbeat sensor is alive, the defending team's really gonna not have a hard time of finding out where people is. But I kind of like that. I kind of like that balance. I kind of like that it isn't just super hardcore. It is a bit more, it's just a bit more updated and a bit more modern, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. Now, after 4 hours, because there's just 2 maps, I started to get, yeah, I'd say I'd get a little burned out. I was hoping for some more variety, but it is just the alpha, and that is understandable. And speaking of which, there were some alpha-related issues popping up quite a bit. I don't know if it was server latency or what, but there were some strange ways in which I was getting killed, in which I thought shouldn't happen. I'm rolling a couple of those clips here. Just some very odd situations that took place. And there was a little bit of glitching, some graphical errors and stuff like that. But again, this is a closed alpha. There's still a lot more work to be done before this game is polished and ready for shipped and gone gold and all of that. But overall, I definitely did have a positive experience. I liked playing the game. I had a good time this afternoon, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. What I really want is a bunch of maps and hopefully some different gameplay modes as well. I think the center, the sort of the main focus will probably always be the hostage rescue, but if we could see a different, some different gameplay options, I think that could also be a lot of fun. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this first impressions coverage of Rainbow Six Siege. Stay tuned. We may be seeing some more coverage from me here on the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.
The hostage location is compromised. Get ready.
No one shall rust this door! Door secured!
Hostage location compromised. Prepare for assault.
I'm hearing. Stay calm.